student employee, the recording in progress for the Communication Studies Department. I also volunteer my time as a big partner for the Gustavus Big Partner Little Partner program. I'm thrilled to be here with you all tonight to celebrate and learn about the great work done by our friends at Trinity Sober Homes. When my classmates and I were assigned this nonprofit, we had no idea how rewarding and sometimes challenging our work would be here. Nevertheless, it has been an honor to be able to support this amazing cause while learning skills that I will carry with me for the rest of my personal and professional career. Throughout this process, I've been taken aback by the hard work shown by my collaborators and friends, Gabby, Ty, Izzy, and Tommy. We've learned that responsibility and respect between members of a group is paramount to success. The sense of community that we exemplify today and that you all show by being here is reflective of the relationships and camaraderie that serve as pillars for Trinity Sober Homes and specifically the Bravo Zulu House. I'll now turn to my fellow Elizabeth, but Izzy Quick.
Hi everyone, I just want to start out by saying thank you for taking the time to be here and support this amazing cause. I'm honored to be part of this marketing team and working side by side with Trinity Sober Homes in taking Bravo Zulu House to the next level. My name's Izzy Quick. I'm from Champlin, Minnesota, where I attended and graduated Champlin Park High School. I'm a senior here at Gustavus studying political science and management. After graduation, I hope to enroll in law school and go into corporate law, specifically working with nonprofits like these. And then beyond the academic realm, my journey at this college has been enriched by my involvement in various extracurricular activities that has shaped my collegiate experience. In addition to my academic pursuits, I'm a member of the women's basketball team here, where I've not only gotten to grow my athletic skills, but also forged deep connections with my teammates and learned valuable life lessons about teamwork, resilience, and determination. Being a part of a team extends beyond the court for me. It's about fostering a sense of community and supporting each other's growth. I feel as if I've learned and gained similar skills throughout this experience with the help and guidance of Tim, Beth, Kathy, and then the members of our marketing team. Tim has pushed our group beyond measure, and I cannot thank him enough for everything that he's done for us. We have accomplished and learned a tremendous amount that will continue to help us grow beyond our education. At Bravo Zulu House, the commitment to fostering recovery goes beyond the conventional approaches. It's rooted in the belief that a nurturing and compassionate community can serve as a powerful catalyst for change. This organization offers not only a physical space, but also a network of understanding individuals who share a common goal. It's an honor to be a part of this team that seeks to create a world where individuals are not defined by their challenges, but by their courage and determination to overcome them. Lastly, I'm going to hand it over to Ty.
Thank you, Izzy. Like she was saying, I'm Ty Guerin, and before introducing myself here, I just want to take a moment to honor the memory of Pearl Harbor and to remember the sacrifice that those brave men and women made on that day. They're all an inspiration to us, and tragedies like that show us just how important Bravo Zulu House really is. Now, a little bit about me is that I'm a junior business management major here at Gustavus, and outside the classroom, I'm involved in Gusty Buddies, which is a program where once a week we spend a little time with kid that has either a learning or developmental disability just within the community. And then I'm also part of the pediatric cancer outreach crew, where we make cards and bravery boxes for a couple kids each week that have pediatric cancer. Then I'm also a part of the mentoring program here at Gustavus. And it's just been an incredible experience to grow closer with my whole team and be able to bounce ideas off each other and learn from one another throughout this whole process. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that we chose to work with Bravo Zulu House because we believe what they're working for, and we think that it's a truly noble cause. In our marketing class that led us here, we filled out an interest sheet in class of various nonprofits, and we all ranked Trinity Sober Homes, or specifically Bravo Zulu House, as our top choice. It's such a unique goal that they're trying to achieve because there's currently no military exclusive sober homes in Minnesota. This also hit a little bit close to home for myself because I've had several family members in the military. My grandpa was a member of the Navy, and I would have loved for him to have had this option available to him. Our veterans give so much for us by serving and protecting our country, so trying to help them in any way we can deal with potential PTSD or substance abuse is the least that we can do. Now we'll hear a word from Bravo Zulu House's Executive Director, someone who, over the last couple of months, my team has had the joy of working closely with and getting to know, and someone who himself, once upon a time, felt the benefit of how a sober home can change a life. Tim Murray.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Tim, and I am an alcoholic, and I'm also the executive director of Bravo Zulu House and Trinity Sober Homes. So first of all, for those parents and grandparents, boy, did you guys do a great job of raising these kids. Young people, I should say. Sorry, I guess when I'm 64, I have to be careful. So first of all, the team really wanted me to share a little bit about my story. And those who know me well say the last thing in the world they want to hear is me talk about me, because it is my favorite subject. But for those of you who are either new or not aware of what we do, basically I am resident 0001. So 14 years ago, I showed up on the floor of Colonel Father Martin Fleming's doorstep. And the Colonel part is a foreshadowing clue. I think Beth can maybe put up a picture of Father Fleming. And, you know, I spent about 2 years with Father Fleming. And Father would tell you that the 2 years that I spent with Father were the longest 10 years of Father's life. And in that process, I got sober, and I was living in my car at the time. It was a nice car, but I was living in my car because I was drinking 24/7. And I often tell people that back when I used to be who I thought I was a really big deal on Wall Street. And if you didn't think so, just ask me, I would have told you. But the reality is that alcoholism is a non-discriminatory disease, and it took me down and took me down hard. 13 years later, after Father Fleming asked me to help him roll out a series of faith-based sober homes, we now have the highest post-treatment recovery rate in the nation at 71%. And my own experience in this is that people wonder whether or not, you know, are there still miracles today? You know, are there still miracles? And all I can tell you is that, you know, you're looking at one with this big nose right here. This is a miracle. And I'm living proof that, you know, with the help and support of people who love and care about you, and a clear path to walk, and connecting with what we would call the spiritual element of life. Some call it God, some call it higher power. But basically the acknowledgement that I need help in my ability to run my own life has really a finite set of outcomes. And for those of us who are prone to drug addiction and alcoholism, the prediction is, and the outcome is pretty consistent, which is not good. So I'm just going to close this section because we'll come back later to talk a little bit more about Bravo Zulu House. But basically, the reason I do this is because Father asked me to roll out this series of homes, and I got to tell you that my ego was bruised. I thought, you know, does this guy not know who I am? I mean, I'm a really big deal. Haven't I told you that, Father? And what I told Father was, I said, hey, if you can give me one really good reason why I should do this, I'll do it. And without hesitating, he said, you know, go forth, Tim, and do for others what I have done for you. And I don't know if you've ever had somebody tell you something that you know in your bones is so true that even a guy like me who loves to hear himself talk, I was speechless. I was like, okay. So Father gave me probably the greatest gift that any human being can give another human being, which is a sense of purpose. So it's with this sense of purpose that I have engaged with these students, with Professor Harms, and with many of the men that are on this call, walking a life of service and hoping that we can extend this service now to our military brothers in this new project called Bravo Zulu House. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Gabby.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for being so open and sharing your story with us. It gave me goosebumps, and I love to hear it every time. Your experience and your care for this organization will take you great lengths for this program, and we're really excited to see what you do for the Bravo Zulu home. So you guys, just like Tim's story and finding his purpose, such as this organization, We as a team have found purpose in this as well. In the beginning of our marketing class, we were given the decision to choose from 5 different nonprofits and creating a detailed and professional project plan for the organizations. And like Ty said, our interests brought us on our journey. So ever since day one, we have been dedicated to getting to know more about Tim, his journey to how he got to this point in his life, and his experiences with Trinity Sober Homes along with the Bravo Zulu home. We have taken the material we have learned in class, such as figuring out our target audience, just like you guys being here tonight, and we've asked specific questions on our way to really get a feel for what this organization's purpose is when talking about the why part of the program, as well as what sets us aside from everybody else. So together, we as a team took part in filling many different roles for this project. As individuals, we broke down specific jobs for everyone to tackle on their own. So I will share a little bit about my role first, and then I'll pass it on to my friend Elizabeth. So outside of making posts for our virtual event and aiding in what I touched on previously, I spend time on reaching out to local ROTC programs, our Gustavus Veteran Alumni Program, while also creating an outline, script, and agenda along with this event with my friend Ty. I am extremely grateful for the role I have played within this team and opportunity. I've learned a tremendous amount about responsibility for staying on top of my own work, being a team player with making my skills present and useful, being consistent with collaboration and ideas, and being intentional about making sure what I say versus what I do stays aligned. The challenges and lessons I have learned from just this semester, I believe, has transformed me as an individual and has made me very enthusiastic about my future. Elizabeth has played a star role in our group, and I'm excited for you guys to hear from her, so I will pass the mic on over to you, Elizabeth.
Awesome. Thank you, Gabby. You've all done a great job. I'm so glad to be able to be working with such a great group. Throughout this process, I've learned more about patience, management, professionalism, and proper work ethic through this experience than any other class project or event that I ever could have imagined. I'm incredibly grateful for the hard work that myself and my team have put into this project and all of the guidance that we have been given by our incredible mentors, Tim, Beth, and Kathy. Throughout my time on this project, I've worked as the internal communication manager between our team and Tim and Beth. I've worked on developing and improving our project plan, which we've been sending in the form of updates throughout, as per the wonderful guidance of our professor, Kathy Harms. As well as creating some detailed agendas for the meetings and hosting some of the meetings myself. I've also been responsible for some of the changes that you might have seen on the Trinity Sober Homes Instagram account, if you're keeping up on it. If you are interested in following, it's just Trinity Sober Homes on Instagram. But another person who has been very instrumental in revamping the social media campaign is Izzy, who I'll pass the metaphorical microphone to next.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, so as she said, I've been working a lot with Beth in the social media, starting up Bravo Zulu accounts. So if you haven't followed those accounts, I highly suggest you do. It's just at Bravo Zulu House. We're just kind of getting started. We've been making a lot of new content, trying to post more often, kind of work to gain a following and outreach to the community. Like I said, we've created a lot of content that hasn't even been posted yet, but yeah, and we've worked to gain a bunch of access to those social media accounts. And we've also sent out a few emails and communicated with other veteran-owned businesses. So I've been doing a lot of the dirty work with the social media accounts. And someone who has been working a lot with veteran-owned businesses and going further with some more social media stuff is Tommy. So I will pass it over to him.
Thank you, Izzy. Main thing I was doing during the duration of this project was helping draft the emails that we were sending out to these local veteran-owned businesses. There were about 25 of them, I believe, that we had reached out to, just again, help get the word out there about what we are doing here. Another thing is working alongside Tim, we built a press release to send out to the Mankato Free Press, which we did get published in. And then I helped Izzy out a little bit when it came to the social media posts in the beginning, just so we could all learn kind of what's going on and be able to jump in and help where needed. And then next up to speak and finally to introduce one of our guest speakers tonight is Ty.
Thank you, Tommy. A little bit about what I did within our group was reaching out to and communicating with our guest speaker that we're so grateful to have, creating a meeting agenda, contacting a few veteran-owned businesses, And like Gabby mentioned, helping craft the script for the event right now. And I think a big reason we were all willing to put in so much work and meet so many times is because we really believe what we're working towards right now. And we've just been so excited to get to share that with you guys. And one of my biggest takeaways from this whole experience is just how hands-on we've been able to be with a lot of stuff. So it's provided a lot of experience for us that I think will help us all going forward. And I mean, coming into the semester, I didn't expect myself to be planning a virtual event. So initially at the idea of it, I was a little nervous, but I quickly saw how committed everyone was and realized that we actually would be able to pull this off, which is very exciting. Now I'm just going to share and mention a few statistics that I found kind of about veteran PTSD and substance abuse. So according to the Boston Medical University, 85% of veterans are exposed to traumatic events, which traumatic events elevates your risk of getting PTSD later on. And then in a different survey, it was found that more than 20% of all service members admitted that they drink heavily. And in a 2020 national survey, it was found that about 8.5% of all veterans suffer from alcohol abuse disorder. And some of these stats they're very concerning, and that's what we're trying to address. So it's the exact reason why we're so excited about Bravo Zulu House and the big opportunity to help so many people. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's the first all-military sober home in Minnesota, so there's nothing like it right now. So it's a super unique opportunity that we're trying to get off the ground. And then there's always new people that are continuing to join the military, and this isn't something that's going to stop. So there's going to be a need for this for as long as I can really see. Now I'm going to let you guys hear a story from someone who found himself struggling with alcohol abuse and had his life changed by one of Trinity sober homes in the past. And so I'm very excited to welcome someone I've gotten to know a little bit over the last couple months, Jim Rasmussen.
Thanks, Ty. I appreciate the opportunity tonight, and I appreciate all your efforts in setting this up. You've been great, bud. So thanks for keeping me on time to speak. So I had a really good experience with, I'm an alcoholic, by the way. And I have a little bit of experience with, obviously, with partying and also with the Navy. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I've spent about 7 years in the Navy as well. But my story goes back to actually to high school, like some of us anyway, myself included. I got into partying as I got into later into high school, and it was fun. It was fun for a while until it wasn't. And it started to affect my life. It started to affect my school. It started to affect hockey and football and hockey that I love more than anything in the world. And just my ability to show up for life in school. And I kind of stumbled around for a little while. I tried to keep hockey alive, junior hockey and whatnot, and it just wasn't possible. So as I tried to settle in and slow down on my partying, and school really wasn't an option at that point. I actually went into the Navy, as I mentioned, and that woke me up for a while. That was really a great wake up call, a boot camp, and getting cleaned up and cleaned out, all of the above, and the discipline and good order and discipline, as they say, and thanks for the shout out to Pearl Harbor too, Ty. I was actually stationed right near there for a while. And so I really enjoyed it. I did well. But I still had incidents where I would struggle to, get up for work or this or that, or just show up. And it was just getting in my way. I just got tired of it, and it was more annoying than anything. And I really, at that point, just decided to stop drinking, but I needed help. So I actually connected with a guy, my first sponsor, who's in the program of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a mentor. My first sponsor was a Marine Corps gunny sergeant. And if you know For those that know anything about the relationship between the Navy and the Marine Corps, that's actually an interesting dichotomy, or I don't know if that's the right word, but we kind of, in hockey parlance, we chirp each other a lot and give each other a hard time, but we respect each other. And he was a great sponsor, and he helped me a lot, helped me get better, helped me get to meetings, helped me to just get my life, back on track and show up for life without having to drink or medicate to be okay. And so, I did really well in the Navy. Not coincidentally, my Navy career took off after I stopped drinking and got sober and got healthy and worked the steps of the program and do the things we need to do to stay well. And I had some nice awards. I was recommended for Officers Candidate School, so really, really well. But I wanted to, at that point, toward the end, come home and finish school and get on with my life and see my family. So, I essentially got out and came home, finished school, and life went really, really well. I got married, had kids. Things really just started to take off for me, and in a great way. And the white picket fence in Edina. There's a lot of Edina on this call, so I'm not sure how that plays. Life was really great for a long time. And I got back into hockey as my son got older and coaching, and I loved it. I was just having so much fun. But alcoholism is a tricky disease. If we don't pay attention to it, it doesn't go away. It's a progressive, fatal disease. Not to be dramatic, but you got to pay attention to it and go to meetings, help guys. There's a lot of things you got to do to stay well. And I stopped doing those things. I took my foot off the pedal because I was just, my business career was taking off. There was just so many things that were taking up my time. I didn't have time for recovery anymore. And unfortunately, that's a bad solution. And it wasn't long before I relapsed. And basically I lost, in the next year or so, lost everything I cared about. My marriage, the house, relationship with my kids was altered for a great deal of time, and just a lot of really tough stuff to deal with. And I was out of the house and living in my West Edina apartment, and it emptied it out. And basically I was going to be on the street the next day, or I could go to Trinity Sober Homes. And I went, let me think about that. And that's a joke because obviously I chose the Trinity Sober Homes path. And in doing so, I thought I'd go there and stay 6 months and get better, get back on my feet, and get moving along. I ended up staying 18 months. And it was the best thing I could have ever done. It helped save my life. The camaraderie, the connection, looking out for each other was not unlike the military. And I just, I owe my sobriety and my life. I just couldn't. It worked when nothing else worked. And I guess that's the best way I can put it. And it really, really made a big difference. And now 7 years sober, and out of Trinity Sober Homes, I made it back to Edina, which might be a little frightening for those in Edina. But my life's getting better again. I'm 7 years sober, as I mentioned. My relationships with my kids are getting better and better. My ex-wife trusts me again. We're friends. And, my professional life is taking off again. And, to be honest, I'm as happy as I've been in a long, long time. And I owe that to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and Trinity Sober Homes. And I just know from being in the military, I saw a lot of guys in trouble. I read a lot. I had access to message traffic. I was in a role that I had understanding of disciplinary type things, and just there was a lot of alcohol related incidents and problems as far as that goes. So I know for a fact that Bravo Zulu House is just a very, very, very important thing and can make a big difference in veterans' lives. And again, this is just so near and dear to my heart, and I'm excited to be a part of it. And that's really all I have to share. I'll pass.
Yes. Jim, I talked about it before, but Seriously, we appreciate you so much, being able to be authentic and real and being able to share your story. It really means a lot to all of us, and I think it just shows how much of an impact these houses can make, and it just makes me more excited for the Bravo Zulu house, and I'm so glad to hear that you're back on your feet and you're turning your life around. All your relationships are being mended, and I'm just very, very happy and very proud. So thank you again for speaking. Next, I would like to turn it over to Tim to talk more about the Bravo Zulu house that you guys have been hearing about.
Well, thank you, guys. For those of you who I do not know on the screen, thank you very much for joining us. You've probably been wondering how many appetizers are we going to serve before we get to the main course. So we're going to get there. Beth is going to bring up, we've got a 60-second video that we'd like to show, and this will tee us up for the next 5 to 6 minutes. There's no audio, Beth.
We need to win the war on veteran suicides. The VA reports 75 to 95% of veterans struggling with PTSD abuse drugs and alcohol. Therefore, a key root cause of veteran suicide is lack of sobriety. Equally disturbing, there are virtually zero all-military sober housing options either in Minnesota or nationally. We have a solution. Introducing Bravo Zulu House, a unique sober housing facility focused exclusively on the needs of our veterans. Located in a peaceful rural setting, Bravo Zulu House provides our veterans with an opportunity to heal up, get stronger, feel better. Bravo Zulu House is operated by the nation's leading sober home provider, Trinity Sober Homes. Trinity was founded by Colonel Father Martin Fleming and has the highest post-treatment recovery rate in the nation at 71%. Our veterans deserve better. If you've been wanting to help, here's your chance. Click here to give or learn more about Bravo Zulu House.
So with that as a quick overview, first of all, I want to just acknowledge the fact, if you're wondering, yes, I am actually sitting in my truck outside my grandchildren's Christmas concert. So I'm going to go from here, the parking lot, into, and this is a good example. So my son, the father of these children, is a major. He'll be a lieutenant colonel. He's a major in the U.S. Army, active right now. And I can tell you 15 years ago, I was not allowed within 100 feet of him or anybody in our family. And so the power of this sobriety, the power of this program, not only am I re-engaged in my children and grandchildren's life, but I actually get invited to things like, hey, Dad, will you come and we'll save you a seat at the Christmas concert. So a couple things to folks to acknowledge. So Pam Krill, I think we've got a slide on Pam, if we want to put it up there. Pam is in line to become the head of the American Legion in the state of Minnesota. Pam, I believe, was on. She may have had to drop. We've also have a number of veterans that are on here, Michael, David, Tom, and Rob. Thank you for your service. We probably have some other veterans that I don't know, and I just want to acknowledge you and thank you very much. Welcome home, as Michael reminds me to say. So thank you. On the next slide, I want to talk about that this project has really been a partnership as a result of working with the VFW, the American Legion, Minnesota Military Appreciation Fund, and the Department of Disabled American Veterans. So this is really a veteran-led organization. As somebody who is not a veteran, although my father was and my son is, I do lack a little bit of credibility. So people say, look, you know, what's the real story here? So we've spent the last 6 to 7 months building a significant number of partnerships and support. And in our next slide here, you'll see just a fraction of the people that we've been able to gain support with. You'll notice U.S. Senator Tina Smith, U.S. Congressman Brad Finstead, mayors, state representatives, local and state level leaders of all the military organizations. On the upper right-hand corner is Jack Zimmerman, Purple Heart recipient, lost both legs stepping on an IED. Jack is the chairman of our advisory board. So we've really gone way out of our way to make sure that this is a veteran-centered, veteran-led, veteran-run organization. On the next slide, it answers some of the basic questions about who are you. So from a mechanic standpoint, we're a nationally recognized 501c3. We have a board of directors for governance. So if any of you are interested, we are taking board position applications right now. We're hiring a veteran as a president in the first quarter, and we are headquartered in Martin County, which is the county where the first farmhouse will be. And speaking of that farmhouse, in our next slide, specifically it shows basically we're north of Fairmount, south of Mankato, and we selected a rural location for several reasons. One is affordability. For about 40 cents on the dollar, we can launch this home and get it up and running with 14 veterans compared to what it would be if we were in a ring of the Twin Cities. Second is it gives us 5 acres to do some things like hydroponic farming. We're going to do some animal therapy with dogs, and also, you know, if you've been around a lot of guys who've been in the military, the idea of sitting in a suburban neighborhood is not one that they're going to do well with. So being active, being able to do some things, go out hiking, etc. On the next slide, you're going to see the image of the farmhouse. So on the right-hand side is the house itself, and it's an existing farmhouse. We've purchased this home, and it has 6 bedrooms in it. On the left-hand side with the circle around it, you'll see what our addition is. This is very similar to the last sober house that we remodeled. We have 4 buildings. We have 50 beds, 50, 3 in the Twin Cities, 1 in Waseca area. This home will end up having 14 bedrooms. 10 of those 14 bedrooms will be wheelchair accessible. It'll be ADA compliant, as you can see with the ramp on the front. There'll be an elevator inside, and there'll be plenty of space for able and challenged veterans as well. On the next page, people typically want to know more about the programming. So basically the house, we're going to have, as I said, 6 to 13 private rooms. There'll be a 14th all on-site manager. Everybody that we work with is coming from a treatment facility. And to put it in perspective, most people when they think of a military subbing house, for whatever reason, their heads sometimes go to veteran homelessness. And this is a much different population. Those guys need a higher level of care than sober housing can provide. What we're working with is the roughly 20,000 a month, 20,000 a month, male veterans that are coming out of treatment. Yes, 20,000 a month. Where'd I get that number? Well, last year, 3 million people went to treatment in the U.S. 3 million. You probably all know somebody who has or is or should go to treatment. 12% of those folks are veterans. This disease affects men at a 2-to-1 ratio. So of the 360 veterans, that's 240,000 a year, or 20,000 a month, are coming out of treatment. And a small percentage of those we would think are military veterans who would prefer to go to a sober house. There are about 5,000 sober houses in the U.S. And so we want to be in a position to say, look, if you are reluctant to go to a civilian sober house and you'd rather be with your military brothers, come on and join us at Bravo Zulu. We have a full-time LEDC, which is a licensed alcoholic dependency counselor. They'll all have a psych eval prior to entry. They'll be assigned a mental health counselor to follow the protocol that's been established. They'll also be assigned a spiritual coach. This is my favorite. I like to call it sneaky therapy. So everybody is assigned a dog, and they got to take care of that dog. So if any of you, so imagine there'll be 13 guys with 13 rescue dogs. They're all being trained for to be a therapy dog, not a service animal, but a therapy dog. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to go way out on the limb that that dog is much more likely to lick the face of these guys than their mental health counselor or their spiritual coach. Just thinking that that might be the case. They'll also be required to work or volunteer 30 hours a week. So they're going to have to go and get a job, or if they are financially sufficient or on disability, they'll need to volunteer in the local community. We're also going to have a hydroponic farming operation for really 3 reasons. 1 is to be sustainable. 2 is to provide, obviously, employment opportunities. And 3, when you are a part of something that's bigger than you, you start to heal even if you don't know it. So having an operation like this that they're responsible for will definitely help. And then lastly, everybody's assigned a house chore. One of the things that I get asked frequently is when I take donors through our homes, I find that a lot of times men or women will say, particularly the women, will say, "Did these guys know we were coming today?" And I'll say, "No." And they'll say, "Are you kidding me? This place is spick and span, and you have 13 men living here? I got a husband and a son, and I can't get those guys to clean up after themselves. How do you do it?" And the answer is we don't. That's the level of pride, and that's the level of commitment that men take in these homes, and they really want it to look nice. So I'm going to go to our last slide, which is talking a little bit about where does your money go? So whenever you've been, and I've been doing fundraising for, quite a while, and the appropriate question to ask is, where's your money going? So for those of you who are compelled or would like to give us a gift or think about giving us a gift either now or next year, there's a couple of things you need to know. First is all of the money will be in trust at Profinium Bank. So we'll have a third party that will hold the money. In big chunks, it's going to cost us about $600,000 total between the purchase of the farm and then the remodeling. So to get to 14 individual bedrooms, as you can imagine, it's going to take a few dollars to get there. It costs us about $250,000 to get the hydroponic farming operation up and running. It costs us about $150,000 to put together a world-class kennel facility for 13 dogs, and the heat and the water and the area for the vet to visit and that type of thing. And then lastly, about $150,000 of working capital. Just so you know, nobody's making a lot of money on this. As executive director, I make $1,000 a month, and I'm the highest paid person in the organization. So all of the money is either going to be spent in Martin County with Martin County subcontractors, or in veteran-owned businesses if we can't find somebody in Martin County. So all the money that's going to be raised will be spent there locally. That pretty much wraps up our commitment to end by 45 minutes. And so what I wanted to do is, first of all, once again, thank our students. I believe in the chat has been placed the link if you would like to donate today. If you want to think about it, which many people do, if you want to write down, or it's real simple, it's bravozuluhouse.org. Many of the facts and information that I've been talking about today are on that website in addition to the video, bravozuluhouse.org. So you can go to that website. And I really can't emphasize enough what a pleasure it's been. Again, back when I used to be who I thought I was, I had an opportunity to be a professor at the University of St. Thomas, and I didn't realize how much I had missed working with this next generation. A lot of people will oftentimes bemoan the state of the world, and I'm just the exact opposite. I mean, I tell you, you spend 10 minutes with these young leaders, and you're like, you know what, we're going to be just fine. For those of us who were hippies and protesters in the 60s, can you imagine what our parents were saying? Like, oh, man, this generation is just not going to make it. I think us baby boomers have done pretty well, and I'm pretty sure that this next generation of students like, Gabby and Thomas and Izzy and Ty and Elizabeth are really going to do just great. Their mentor and teacher, Professor Kathy Harms, what a brilliant idea to not only leverage Kathy's background and talent in marketing, but she could have taught a class about the 4 Ps of marketing and blah, blah, blah. But no, she said, you know what? I'm going to leverage this platform and to help nonprofits and let the nonprofits figure out what they can do with these talent and figure out what to help the organization. What a brilliant idea. The minute I heard that, I was like, I want in on this bad. Fortunately, I didn't have to bribe Kathy. Apparently, our compelling argument or value proposition was strong enough. But if that wouldn't have worked, trust me, I would have come at you hard, Kathy. So thank you for letting us participate in this wonderful event. So if you get a chance, we'll leave this open for a few minutes, not for verbal comments, but if you want to just send a note in the chat in everyone, just really acknowledging these students. They really need and deserve your feedback and your support. My contact information is on the website if anybody wants to call and talk with me or schedule a visit to any of our homes. And thanks especially for Jimmy Rasmussen and his wonderful testimony. I see a couple, I'm assuming by a couple of these last names that are on here, you guys are parents. Again, you guys did a great job with these young people. So, you know, the good news is you probably don't know it, but they also appreciate you because they tell me that they do. So thank you. We're going to wrap this up unless, Gabby, unless I missed something at the end. You want to just sign us off and tell everybody thank you, please?
Yeah, I think you covered it. I did put the donor box and the website itself into the chat if you guys want to learn more about the resources of the house. Tim, I thought you explained it really greatly, and as I said, we can't say thank you enough for being here and taking the time out of your night. So I hope you all have a good weekend and good rest of the year.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thank you.